The church can often put such an emphasis on the law, on how we show up in this world, the choices we make, and the actions that we take. But what does the Bible actually say? What does God truly care about? Is it more so about what's on your heart and forgiveness? And why is this all so important? This is what we're diving into today on my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I am Ella Dawn, spiritual mindset coach and healer, focusing on removing the stories, removing those limiting beliefs and thoughts you have, and revealing the supernatural in the Bible and in God so you can claim your power and authenticity in this lifetime. So today I want to take a look at some instances in the Bible where God was actually more focused on the heart of the matter rather than the law itself. We can often think that some of the most important people in the Bible were flawless and they followed the letter of the law to a T, when that is actually not true. Dive in today in our Bibles into 1 Samuel 12 verse 20. Don't be afraid, Samuel reassured them. You have certainly done wrong, but make sure now that you worship the Lord with all your heart and don't turn your back on him. Don't go back to worshiping worthless idols that cannot help or rescue you. They are totally useless. The Lord will not abandon his people because that would dishonor his great name, for it has pleased the Lord to make you his very own people. Do not be afraid. You've certainly done wrong. But make sure that you are following God. Don't be worshiping worthless idols. We can make idols out of so many things in this day and age. We can put more power into our job providing for us. We can put more power into our relationships and our friends, when really we need to be putting the power and focus on God and be looking at ourselves and what is it, our intentions, and where is our heart in things, than actually just following these strict rules. We can see in Genesis with the story of Abram and Abraham. When we're looking at Abraham, he had such a legacy. There were so many people born from him, including eventually Jesus. And God had put such promises on his heart. But even he struggled with following the letter of the law. And we see in Genesis, both in Genesis 12 to 13, and in Genesis 20, two different times he was going on a journey, and he was journeying through these other lands. And he had a very beautiful wife, Sarai, who then turned Sarah. And he was afraid that he would be killed so that they could take his wife for their own. And so he would actually lie, saying that Sarah was his sister, instead of trusting in God. And yet, despite these lies, despite not having faith, despite moments of human weakness, God still always forgave him because he turned his heart back to God. He recognized his mistakes, and he actually took effort to try and change his ways. But he did that the first time, and then he did it again a second time, and still both times God forgave him. Why? Because he recognized where he was wrong and he asked for forgiveness. We also see in David, this is one of my favorite stories or favorite analogies, because David sinned huge. And yet still God fulfilled so much glory and created such a lineage through him as well, and provided him with so many blessings because again he humbled his heart. And we see with David, there was a woman, Bathsheba, who he lusted after, and he took her as his own, and he had sex with her, and she became pregnant, and so he became afraid because she had a husband. And so not only did he now commit idolatry, he also sent her husband off to the front lines so he could be killed, and was essentially a murderer. And yet, this was like one of God's most chosen people who he fulfilled all of these promises through and provided so much abundance as mentioned. And yet, he committed these sins. But what did he do after? He humbled his heart. He prayed to God. He asked for forgiveness, and he was genuinely, truly sorry. We can see in Catholicism, it advocates for you to have to go say your Hail Marys in order to ask for forgiveness, but people use this forgiveness is an excuse to keep on sinning, but they are okay because they have said their Hail Marys, when really that is not the point. The point of forgiveness is having this change of heart. We also see in 2 Chronicles 32, there is the story of this king Hezekiah. Hezekiah here, he was a king, he became deathly ill, he prayed to God who healed him, gave him a miraculous sign, but Hezekiah did not respond appropriately to the kindness shown him, and he became proud. So the Lord's anger came against him, but then Hezekiah humbled himself and repented of his pride, as did the people of Jerusalem, and so the Lord's anger did not fall on them again during Hezekiah's lifetime. However, in verse 31, we see that he had a bunch of wealth, and there's these ambassadors that came to talk to Hezekiah to see what happened, what transpired, what caused all of this abundance and this change in him. And it actually states, God withdrew from Hezekiah in order to test him and to see what was really in his heart. So sometimes we can have this walk with God, and God will be blessing us. God will be close to us. We can feel him. We know we are in him. And then all of a sudden he disappears. We need to make sure we keep the faith. We don't get angry at God. We don't curse him out and be like, where did you go? Why am I alone? Sometimes God withdraws us to test us, to see what is our heart actually saying. Where are our heart intentions? Are we doing this just in order to earn God's abundance? Or are we doing this because this is truly, genuinely who we want to be? We can have so many stories in our lives based upon how others have treated us, how we've seen others model their lives. We need to heal and forgive these stories. We need to heal and forgive those people. We need to heal and forgive ourselves for having done that behavior, for having believed those stories. So that way we can truly connect with God and connect with the joy and the abundance and the love that God has in store for us. So no matter what season you're going through, whether it feels like God has abandoned you, or if you feel like you are all alone, or maybe even if you are following these strict laws, this strict protocol in order to have God's favor, ask yourself instead, what is really on my heart? Why am I doing this? How can I humble myself? How can I have greater faith? And how can I trust and walk in love? Because honestly, it's not about the actions. It's about what's on your heart. Because if you change your heart, you will change your actions. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. New videos are released every Monday. And if you enjoy diving into these Bible stories, I invite you to join me at The Water's Edge. It's my new monthly membership. It's a supernatural sanctuary for those desiring a deeper relationship with their own truth, to forge your own truth, and to help you change your heart, to release these stories you have on your life so you can set yourself free. Thank you for listening, and much love.